What it do, YouTube? It's your boy Wayne James, and happy Sunday, man. Happy Sunday. How everybody doing today? I hope everybody enjoying your day on your weekdays off. And I'm off from work, so thank God. And my goal is to just go back to what I gotta do is make some videos, man. So today, I know y'all be like, if you see my previous video on hold on. Shanquella Robinson story, the case. I want to say I just gotta blow off that with 100 some. Well, I think almost. Hold on, let me check. Mm. 163 views. Yep, 163 views. And as you may do, I'm gonna say it like this, man. I'm not into like a crime detective or anything. I just know what is right and what is wrong. And I have an uncle that is a police officer, works in a Jamaican police officer. So before all of this, they want me to go to I was thought about going to law school, cause I always love studying, watching crime videos, like watching CSI. I watched couple episodes of Law and Order. I was like, yo, I got the head of the game, so I was like, you know what? Let me just go to law school. But I realized that you gotta go to law school. You gotta have this degree or something like that. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna put that to the side, man. I'm not gonna do it. I know people gonna say, oh, you still got it. You can still get the channel. Like, you know what? My dream is to be a YouTuber. I've been watching so much YouTube throughout my life, and that's why I was like, you know what? It is what it is. But I watched this YouTuber by the name of They Were Kill You. That's his name. I mean, that's the YouTube name, I guess. So basically, it shows a lot of weirdos, yeah, that has reputations of doing weird things in the United States of America. So that being said, we got a title called "When the Creepiest Creeps Goes Wrong." So sit back and start flex.
In the spring of 2023, Mississippi teen Denise Frazier was arrested after a video started circulating on Snapchat of her having relations with a male German Shepherd. When Jones County law enforcement went to question her, they found a German Shepherd at the home, and 19-year-old Frazier reportedly referred to him as her service dog. As the police interview progressed, she admitted to being the woman in the video but claimed to have been threatened into performing and recording the acts. However, she failed to explain how the supposed coercion had occurred, and the police found no evidence of it. Frazier also claimed that the content had been recorded a year prior, but screenshots from clips shared on iCloud indicated that they were...
Yo, she looked like Bobby Outlaw, whatever the other girl name. She looked like Bobby, the light-skinned girl. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about. But yo, having sex with a dog is crazy. I'm telling you. You're gonna have these new Gen Zs out here gonna talk about, oh, these mans can't do it. Let's try something different. Tough.
Taken in late February of 2023. Sergeant J.D. Carter, the lead investigator on the case, told a media outlet, "I wouldn't understand the mindset that would even drive somebody to do that," describing the case as the most disturbing he'd come across in 17 years on the force. Carter also said there are really no true words to describe it other than disgusting, noting that the videos were so graphic that the authorities were not...
Mississippi woman sentenced for unnatural intercourse with... Oh my gosh. Sickening.
...at liberty to release them or even discuss them in detail. Frazier was determined to have willfully unlawfully and feloniously had relations with the dog. She was charged with unnatural intercourse and aggravated cruelty of an animal. A judge set her bond at $25,000 and she was ordered to stay away from animals until after her trial. About a year later, Frazier was again arrested for unnatural intercourse in a different Mississippi county. Forest County police took her into custody, and according to WJTV, 3 separate dogs were recorded in multiple videos as they were subjected to perversions by the woman. The animals were rescued and received veterinary care. Frazier, who was believed to have created this sickening content in exchange for money, was sentenced in January of 2025 for the Forest County incident. She was jailed for 4 years and ordered to spend an additional 5 years on probation. The conviction did not mark the end of her legal troubles, as animal rights organizations still push for full accountability regarding her Jones County case. Number 10, Joel Hernandez. On the afternoon of October the 25th of 2022, Joel Hernandez went on a crime spree in Victorville, California, while wearing a red sweatshirt and a clown mask depicting Pennywise, the antagonist from the 2017 horror movie It. His first victim was a 50-year-old woman whom he assaulted and groped in the parking lot of an L supermarket. Shortly thereafter, he headed to the Arrowhead Credit Union, which was about 2 miles away from the grocery store, while still wearing the creepy disguise. Hernandez targeted a 54-year-old woman who was using the ATM. He attacked the victim and stole $500 off her before fleeing. The woman called Victorville law enforcement and gave them a description of the assailant. Shortly thereafter, 22-year-old Hernandez was found in the area and arrested. A search of his backpack produced the clown mask, a ski mask, and the cash he'd stolen from the second woman. Both she and the first victim subsequently identified him as the man who'd attacked them. Hernandez was booked into the high desert detention.
Why he didn't burn the 2 masks so he won't get, so he won't, what I'm trying to say. But 2 masks is crazy.
Center on charges of robbery and battery. With his bond set at $200,000, law enforcement believed that he'd claimed more victims and released his mugshot, urging others to come forward. Online users remarked that even unmasked, Hernandez's appearance was still creepy. The photo showed that he had a face tattoo that emulated the streaks on his clown mask. Number 9, Kevin Jenkins. Serial groper Kevin Jenkins of Brooklyn, New York City, was charged with molesting 8 women between April the 28th and May the 7th of 2020. 6 of the attacks were reported to have occurred on the latter day between 9:55.
See, this is the reason why. I'm from the Bronx, and I have family members in Brooklyn. So I hate the police system. They be letting people out and they still do the same damn thing. I ain't gonna lie. Donald Trump gotta do something with these police officers, yo. Y'all got YNs taking over and going to different stores and start stealing this. And then you got men out here going crazy on innocent women. And y'all arresting them and y'all letting them out, yo. There should be more justice, more punishment, yo. I don't care, bro. Like, y'all gotta do something. Y'all making the city turn into GTA. I ain't gonna lie, y'all turning the city into Saints Row. Matter of fact, y'all turning this into a freaking Roblox City. Anything could happen.
At 11:15 a.m., the rampage began with him trying to lift the skirt of a woman in her 20s in South Williamsburg, and continued with him grabbing another young woman by her privates near Myrtle and Bedford Avenues. 7 minutes later, Jenkins threw a teen to the ground and pressed her face against his privates before fleeing. The attacks continued on other Brooklyn streets, with Jenkins groping another woman from behind, pressing his body against that of a different victim, and then throwing his last victim. I don't know
who their parents are, because they say they gave up raising up their I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't feel sad, but I feel sad, but it hurts at the same time, because that's your kid right there. It doesn't matter. That's your kid right there. They probably go through so much physical and emotional damage in that, like, behind the scenes. So they probably take their frustration out is either on an animal, on the animal or object or or on different people so they could feel their pain or something. That's not how it goes, buddy. That's not how it goes. That's not how it goes. You got, it's either therapy or your parents. That's it. Have a one-on-one like conversation or something like that. That's all I gotta tell you.
Ground after grabbing her around the neck and shoulders. The two
Oh my
previous
God,
attacks, which occurred on April the 28th and May the 1st, involved similar acts of groping. None of the victims, who ranged in age from 16 to 40, were seriously injured. As of the latest updates on the case, Jenkins faced 10 counts of abuse and 8 counts of forcible touching. Number 8. Nagassi Zuberi. On July the 15th of 2023, Nagassi Zuberi approached an escort in Seattle and solicited her services. After having relations with her, the man flashed a police badge and posed as an undercover cop. He threatened the woman with a taser and detained her in the back of his Honda Pilot using handcuffs and leg irons. He then made the 450-mile drive back to his home in Klamath Falls, Oregon, stopping on the way to force the victim to perform an intimate act on him. Upon arriving at his residence, Zuberi detained the woman in a makeshift cell in his garage, which he'd built out of cinder blocks and which featured a black metal door that only opened from the outside. The woman, whose name wasn't disclosed, was held captive for hours and abused. She was
He built like a jail cell with cinder blocks. That's smart. But stupid though. Smart at the same time though.
eventually able to escape
Why
by
I can't
banging
do
on the
that?
door until it broke open. The woman then took a handgun from her captor's car, scaled a fence on his property, and flagged down a passing car. She told the driver that she'd been abused and subsequently alerted law enforcement. The following day, July the 16th, Reno Police Department officers and the Nevada State Patrol located Zuberi in a parking lot in Reno, Nevada. He was taken into custody after a brief standoff. During the investigation that followed, the FBI found that approximately 6 weeks before targeting the Seattle victim, the crazed creep had kidnapped and abused the Klamath Falls woman. CCTV footage showed them walking together from a bar called the Pikey in the early hours of May the 6th. Once they were in the back of his car, Zuberi reportedly hit the woman in the head multiple times and deployed a taser into her ribs. He then forced himself on the victim multiple times and recorded himself doing so on his cell phone. He reportedly threatened her that he would play the video for others if she ever reported him to the police. The woman was held at his garage and would later report seeing the stacked cinder blocks.
I mean, I understand. Everybody said it in a different language. He said garage. We say garage. When people say tomato, they say tomato.
That Zuberi subsequently used to build the cell where the second victim was detained. After abusing the May victim for hours, Zuberi drove her to an ATM, gave her $300 and dropped her off near her home. The woman went to the police but said that the authorities didn't follow up on her report, which she claimed wasn't taken seriously. It was only after the Seattle attack became public that the FBI looked into her case as well. Zuberi faced a plethora of charges that included 2 counts of kidnapping, 2 counts of felony gun possession, and 3 counts of felony ammunition possession. In August of 2023, while in custody, he reportedly tried to break out by smashing through his cell window but was unsuccessful. Zuberi pleaded not guilty to all of his charges, and during the ensuing trial, his defense tried to claim that his relations with the victims had been consensual. His lawyer pointed to Zuberi dropping his first victim off at her home as evidence in that regard, noting that it wasn't behavior typical of a kidnapper. The defense also proposed that the video of him having relations with the victim actually exonerated him because she called him attractive in the footage, and he complied when she requested that he stopped recording. The evidence against Zuberi was, however, overwhelming and consisted of dozens of witnesses and hundreds of court exhibits. The prosecution presented harrowing photos of the dungeon he'd built in his garage. The police recovered handcuffs, leg irons, cell phone, jammers, and a taser, which were displayed in court. Also part of the evidence was a note written by Zuberi titled Operation Takeover, which featured instructions on how to hunt for his victims. The note partially read, "Leave phone at home," and "Make sure they don't have a bunch of people in their life. You don't want any type of investigation." In October of 2024, Zuberi was found guilty of all charges, and in January of the following year, the 31-year-old was sentenced to life in federal prison.
GG's.
Number 7. Jacques Freitas.
Jack Freitas.
Around Christmas in 2022, a Brazilian man broke onto a property in Salvador where a British woman had been staying for over a year. The shoeless and property in Salvador.
This nigga went through. Oh my gosh. Sorry for my language. Sorry God, please forgive my sins. Please forgive my sins. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. Please forgive my sins. Sorry, it's Sunday. I'm not trying to break all my sins. But continue on saying. But yeah, this dude really ran through a glass window. Is that? I think that's a balcony. I can't say it's a balcony, but that's like a backyard, I guess. Damn.
Where a British woman had been staying for over a year. The shoeless and shirtless intruder was identified as civil servant Jack Freitas. Surveillance cameras captured him exhibiting virtually no regard for personal safety while making his way through the upscale property. Freitas threw his body through a metal fence before running towards a glass panel and diving through it headfirst. The man landed onto the living room floor. He suffered broken bones and deep cuts which caused severe bleeding, but nevertheless rose to his feet and approached the British expat. Freitas removed his shorts and reportedly appeared to be gearing up to abuse the woman. He was believed to have been under the influence of multiple drugs, as cannabis, pills, and hallucinogenic mushrooms were later found at his home. The woman fought Freitas off and ran outside towards the swimming pool. The crazed intruder chased after her but collapsed from blood loss by the time he reached the edge of the pool. He was subsequently pronounced dead at the scene. Beyond Freitas being under the influence, no further insight was offered to explain his December 22nd rampage. The victim was unharmed, but remained in shock. The property's building manager said of the expat, her house is full of blood. It looks like she's killed an ox.
I mean, do we say RIP or no? Or we just take it back? I'm not sure. Because that man was trying to do some crazy and then you know what I'm trying to say? and then he went through the fence. Man, we don't say RIPs to people who are doing bad things on life. When I mean on life, committing crimes, taking pills and all the ecstasies and all that. They start making a scene, going through emotional distress or something. But if you plan on harming people and all that, we don't say RIP to people. I'm sorry. That's all I gotta say. We don't say RIP to people who are committing the heinous. What I'm trying to say is we don't say RP to people who do bad time, who on bad time and crashing out.
Adding, it was a night of terror. I've never seen anything like it. Number 6, Troy Tomlin.
Number 6.
27-year-old Englishman Troy Tomlin was armed with a handgun and wore a face mask, sunglasses, and latex gloves as he headed to an apartment in the Birmingham city centre on June the 1st of 2024. 2 women were at the address at the time, and Tomlin had reportedly arranged to meet with one of them via text. Once the door was opened, he burst in, brandished a pistol, and demanded cash from the female homeowner. He then went into another room where one of her friends was and also ordered her to surrender her cash. The intruder then held the woman at gunpoint and forced himself on both of them. The attack lasted for over 30 minutes, and each victim was forced to kneel next to Tomlin as he abused the other. At some point, the intruder held the gun to the victims' heads and asked for their IDs, threatening that he would return and kill them both if they talked to the police. The pistol he used in the attack was later determined to have been an imitation weapon. The women managed to escape the apartment and raised the alarm before Tomlin fled the scene. He was traced
an imitation gun. What? It's like so basically, let me guess. An imitation gun. So basically he had like a black. He probably had like a black phone case, and he said, "You better talk. I'll get you. I'll get you. I'll hurt you. See this right in my pocket? I'll get you." And he said, "Oh, you see this right here? That's it." Yo, like literally I mean, thank God thank God they're alive and well. They doing well, but yo, y'all you could have just been out there, like literally, y'all could have just run out and been out there, cause they can't even do nothing. If they don't have a weapon on you, then you Gucci. You just did the dash and just run off, yo. Cause that's an idiot move on him. I mean, of course he's gonna get caught anyway, so.
And was taken into custody by West Midlands law enforcement 2 days later. Body cam footage of the arrest showed officers stopping him in traffic as he was driving a white
I always
Volvo
gotta ask them,
Birmingham.
what
Cops dragged
for a
tumbling
reason?
from the car and handcuffed him. The body-worn cameras also captured the moment that one of the officers
They
removed
love
a
to go to
large
jail. They love to go to prison.
knife
I'm telling you.
from Tomlin's vehicle. The
They
man was
love
charged for
to
abusing the two
see
women
the
as
new
well as with
experience
possession of an
in the prison
imitation
cells
firearm,
with prison
robbery,
inmates.
possession of a knife, and possession
tell
of
you,
cannabis. He denied the charges.
cell
at
inmates
Birmingham
don't like
Crown Court,
rapists, I'm
and during
telling
the
you.
trial that followed, tried to claim that the relations had been consensual. One of the victims reported that she struggled with anxiety, depression, and insomnia in the incident's wake, telling the court, "This person has taken everything from me, my dignity, my respect, my soul." Tomlin was found guilty of his charges, and in February of 2025, he was jailed for life with a minimum of 17
He looked like
years
Terry
behind
Rozier.
bars. The sentencing judge noted that the man had never expressed remorse for his crimes, which he perpetrated with a significant degree of planning, and through which his victim remained utterly terrified. Tomlin was told by the judge, "You are extremely dangerous, and it is not possible at all at this stage to determine when it will be safe for you to be in society." Number 5. Stacey Lee Drake.
Stacey Lee
50-year-old
Drake.
Stacey Lee Drake was arrested on June the 20th of 2024 in Arkansas following a multi-state manhunt. Law enforcement surrounded the fugitive as he was sleeping in a hammock in a wooded area of Morrilton. Body cam footage showed multiple officers
what?
searching the
Did he
man
say
after
he?
they'd restrained him and then placing him in the back of a
No.
police SUV.
So there's a female. You know, a female is a name Stacy. I never heard of a guy named Stacy. That's a female's name, bro. Whoever named you Stacy is on drugs, high off drugs, yo. I'm telling you. He probably. I ain't gonna say too much, but yeah. But yo, Stacey Lee Drake. That is crazy. Oh man.
Drake was at the time the
Ooh,
primary
name
suspect in
Stacey
a
is
crime
on
spree
some
involving 4
type of
murders,
supplies right now.
robberies, carjackings, and other associated crimes. His one-man crime wave was reported to have begun in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, in May. 62-year-old Russell Thomas Andrews was a long-time Alcoholics Anonymous volunteer. During a meeting, he reportedly stayed behind to talk to Drake after everybody else had left the AA building on Jack Warner Parkway. Drake gunned Andrews down before stealing his wallet and car. The victim's body was subsequently found in the AA building. About a month later, El Reno police in Oklahoma were asked to conduct a welfare check on 56-year-old Philip Emerson. Officers went to his North Malcolm Avenue address and found that the lights were out. They left, believing no one was at the residence. Emerson's brother, who'd initially asked the police for the welfare check, headed to the address to investigate for himself. In doing so, he found Philip dead from a gunshot wound to the head. Drake was
RP.
believed to have executed and then stolen his Chevrolet pickup truck. Sequoia County deputies found the vehicle abandoned the following day, June the 15th. 3 days later, a sheriff's deputy was parked at a church in Gans, Oklahoma, when he was approached by a man who claimed that his fiancée and another man had been killed at a propane business nearby. When the authorities went to investigate the scene at LaFerry's Propane on Highway 65, they found Tara Underwood and Taylor Ross Sharp dead after they'd been shot in the head. The victims were both aged 35, and Underwood was an office manager at LaFerry's while Sharp worked as a delivery
RP.
driver. Surveillance footage indicated that only Drake entered and left the business within the time frame that the victims were gunned down. He then left in Underwood's GMC Acadia and headed to a Motel 6 in Morrilton, Arkansas. Drake was captured on CCTV at the motel wearing the same clothes as in the footage from the propane business. He wasn't on the premises when the authorities tracked down the GMC and reached the scene. The police searched his room and found wallets belonging to Sharp and Underwood, as well as guns, which were later matched to bullets recovered from the victims' bodies.
Ew.
Drake's case was ongoing as of the latest updates on the matter. The crazed drifter had a criminal record going back to the early 1990s, which included arrests and convictions for carjackings, robbery, and kidnapping. Number 4. Leon Howell.
That's tough.
On February the 11th of 2025, a woman was waiting for a taxi after visiting a doctor's office in Brooklyn Heights, New York City. She was approached by 43-year-old Leon Howell, who told her that he was an agent for immigration and customs enforcement. Howell demanded to see the 51-year-old's ID, but she became suspicious when he couldn't produce a badge. In the moments that followed, Howell forced the woman into the basement stairwell of a building at Montague and Henry Streets. Once out of view, Howell punched the victim to the floor. He proceeded to remove her pants and underwear until she pleaded with him to stop. The man then fled the scene with her chain, purse, and cell phone. The unnamed victim, who was believed to have been targeted by Howell due to her ethnicity or race, was taken to a local hospital. She was listed in stable condition after suffering lacerations to her face, as well as scratches and bruises throughout her body. The NYPD used Victims Find My iPhone app to track Howell down. He was arrested on multiple charges that included robbery, assault, and burglary. The man was a repeat offender with 20 prior arrests for incidents that included...
He's on the register? Oh, damn. Y'all gotta be careful in y'all cities. Y'all, don't blame me. Don't blame me in the comments. He's in y'all city. He in y'all state. I mean, you don't see the caption. It says Brooklyn. I'm in the Bronx. Ain't nothing happening in the Bronx. Alright? Stop playing with me.
With theft and assault. In 2017, he grabbed a woman from behind and dragged her into a bathroom stall at a Bushwick gym, where he strangled her until she passed out. Much like his latest victim, the woman was a complete stranger to him. Howell was jailed for that incident in 2019 and was still on parole at the time of the February 2025 attack. Number 3, Mark Greenberg.
Number 3 now. We had three more.
With the kid, his daughter who's 6 years old was approximately 3, and Mark Greenberg came out and was like, I'm going to turn you to a woman, I'm going to take you to Disney World, I'm going to make that famous. He's saying yesterday he was telling the kids to be quiet and come to him.
Over the course of 8 months leading up to the fall of 2022, Florida man Mark Greenberg racked up nearly a dozen complaints from his neighbors in Face and Circle, Deltona, for the disturbing behavior he exhibited towards their children. The 55-year-old would reportedly use his cell phone to record children playing outside, in addition to researching their names and finding out where they lived. His increasingly brazen acts culminated with him approaching...
Yo, that dude needs the death penalty. I'm sorry, I give them life without parole. Nah. Get that man out of the planet. Get him out the world, yo. Oh my god. He turned into Charlie Manson. Oh. Nah, man's a sicko, man. Recording, watching kids playing. What type of sickening y'all on, man? Damn. It feels like he's a virgin, I mean, I guess. Oh, wrong one. You know what I'm saying. Well, yo, this man probably is a virgin. He probably has a Hall of Fame on revenge, and a Hall of Fame sickening. Wait, what? Hall of Fame menace to society. There you go. I'm gonna take out that sickening one, because that sickening doesn't match anything. But yo, that man got no life. He has no moral. Oh, they took everything away from him.
A young girl as she was playing in her family's driveway. Greenberg made deranged comments that included telling her, I'm going to make you famous, and I'm going to turn you into a woman, or I'm going to turn you into a big girl. The creep, whose comments were heard by other witnesses, said that he would pick her up and take her to Disneyland. He also followed the girl when she went to visit her grandmother's home in another neighborhood and waited outside in his car to take photos of her. The child eventually became too afraid to go outside due to the man's come-ons. Greenberg was consequently arrested by deputies from the Volusia County Sheriff's Office on September the 3rd of 2022. The previous day, he had also allegedly motioned towards other children in the neighborhood to come to him, while pressing his finger against his lips, gesturing for them to stay quiet. Body cam footage of Greenberg's arrest showed the handcuffed man telling officers that there were two sides to every story. He pleaded with them to allow him to take his Skechers, claiming he had bad feet, but was denied.
No. Listen, it's those or nothing. Put them on or they're going back in the house.
You can go barefoot. That's fine.
So you're holding something against me or what happened yesterday?
No, you're under arrest.
I don't know why I'm yawning, guys.
Walk out to the car with
I
nothing
just
on
need
your
some
feet.
coffee. I'm about to go out and get some coffee after
I'm
this
safer
video.
waiter, sir.
Well, if your house secured, then you can get it.
What is the bond amount?
$5,000.
Aggravated stalking.
We're not going to discuss it. That's your charge, period. We're
No.
going to discuss it. That guy's
Man, $5,000 is lightweight, yo. Give him $100K. He's a weirdo. That man out here recording kids, man. That's like a band or like 100 bands or a milli. Slap him on that one. 'Cause that doing, if you get, he ain't never gonna come out.
all the judges.
Crazy.
We're not judges. You could have came to the door last night and give us some information. You failed to do it, so we had to make our decisions based upon what we had. Period. We're not arguing.
Well, I'm not going to argue it. There's two sides to every story.
As he entered the police SUV, Greenberg, who wore a sleeveless t-shirt, shorts, and flip-flops, paused and asked law enforcement, "What do you think about this civil war going on?" but was promptly shut down and told to get in the car. The bearded man, who displayed a wide smile in his booking photo, was charged with aggravated stalking. Today's topic was requested by Aaron Ambrose 9369. If you have any other topics you'd like to learn about, subscribe and let us know in the comment section below. Number 2. David Maria Anthony Rayan. Between September and October of 2023, Australian man David Maria Anthony Rayan was accused of assaulting at least 33 women at a nightclub in Prahran in Melbourne's inner city. The victim's reports were supported by a substantial amount of CCTV footage. 33-year-old Rayan, a former IT worker, touched the women without their consent on their bottoms, breasts, and genitals. He was also accused of kissing the victims on the head and shoulders and of rubbing his groin against their bodies. In one incident that occurred on October the 14th, Rayan reportedly tried to put his mouth on a woman's buttocks. Many of the victims...
What? Yo, he tried to... Yo, who you think he is? He's Quagmire, bro? Yo, he tried to... 73 counts of... S.A.? That's sick, bro.
were not Australian citizens. During the investigation that followed, the authorities stated that they intended to liaise with international law enforcement in an effort to get statements from them. Rayan's crazed and creepy behavior resulted in him being charged with over 70 offenses pertaining to assault of an intimate nature. The latest information available on the case indicated that the man was set to return to court in the spring of 2024. Number 1. Vicat
Number
Agat.
1.
28-year-old Irish woman Danielle McLaughlin and a friend from Australia traveled to Goa, India in February of 2017. McLaughlin had visited the country before and had at one point volunteered in an orphanage. During her 2017 trip, she lived in a beach hut and reportedly hoped to find work as a yoga teacher. 2 weeks after her arrival in the country, McLaughlin and her friend went to a party celebrating the Hindu Holi festival at the Green Park Resort in Palolem Beach. McLaughlin left the party in the evening. A day later, a farmer found her naked body in a field between Palolem and Agonda beaches. Evidence indicated that the woman had been abused and beaten to the point of disfigurement. An autopsy would find that she suffered cerebral damage and constriction of the neck, resulting in her death. She'd been extensively beaten about the face with a rock and a beer bottle, with the partial purpose of frustrating identification efforts. The victim's face was so badly damaged that McLaughlin's own mother couldn't recognize her and had to confirm her identity based on her hair color and a distinctive tattoo. During her past visits to Goa, McLaughlin had met a young man by the name of Vicat Bagat before leaving the Palolem beach party on the evening of
That's the reason why I would love to travel, but like I said, sorry, when you travel, you gotta be cautious and be careful. I would say don't go alone. That's all I gotta tell you. If you plan on going on a vacation or anything, don't go alone. Cause if you go alone, then GG's. That's all I gotta say.
March the 13th, she was captured on CCTV walking with him. Bagat was arrested hours after McLaughlin's body was discovered. Local law enforcement found that his clothes had blood stains on them, and the victim's clothes were located close to his home. The man initially admitted to assaulting and killing McLaughlin, but roughly 2 months later wrote a 29-page open letter denying he'd been responsible. Bagat claimed that he was in love with the victim, adding that the horrific crimes against her had been perpetrated by 3 of his friends. The accused killer wrote that the police completely disregarded his version of events. He accused officers of giving him electric shocks to his calf muscles and forcing him to touch broken beer bottles for fingerprints. According to Bagat's letter, he and McLaughlin had left together on the night in question and stopped at the spot where her body was later discovered.
What?
They were drunk and had been smoking cannabis. Bagat's friends then called and asked to join them, and Bagat gave them their location. Sometime later, 2 motorbikes pulled up to the scene. According to Bagat, one of his friends reportedly told him to ask McLaughlin to have relations with the group. An argument ensued, and she slapped the man in question. He and the others then stripped McLaughlin, held her down, and forced themselves on her before beating her to death with beer bottles. Local lawyer Vikram Varma, who assisted the victim's family.
So they had a 3-way, and after that they just eliminate. Oh my gosh, so sickening, yo. So sick, yo.
During the lengthy legal proceedings that followed, also expressed his suspicion that more than one person had been involved in the attack. The police, however, interviewed the 3 men named by Bagat and ruled them out as suspects. Bagat was found guilty, and in February of 2025, 8 years after the murder, the 31-year-old was sentenced. A lawyer for McLaughlin's family said in a statement, there was no other suspect or gang involved in Danielle's death, and Bagat was solely responsible for cruelly ending her beautiful life. The man was given a life sentence for the killing, a second life sentence for the abuse, and 3 additional years for destroying evidence. Thanks for watching. Would you rather be perfectly...
Well, that's one of the most darkest videos I ever watched in my life, man. I hope everybody watches this video, man. Please make sure you like, comment, subscribe, man. Stay cautious, be safe, live life. That's all I gotta tell you.